Was Josh yesterday just give him a little bit of rest on the knee?
You could say that. I mean, he's been battling through it, so, and then more than likely he will not be out there today either. So we'll see how he's feeling tomorrow and then kind of go from there.
If he's not practicing, is there a little bit of concern for Sunday?
I think anytime the guy doesn't practice, there's always concern. So we'll see. He's been battling through. It's not. I mean, he is doing everything in his power to get ready to go.
How did Lucas look yesterday?
He looked good. So we'll see how he responds today and give him a little bit more and see where he's at.
Do they kind of feel like he's over the hump now, or is it still questionable?
I think it's very questionable at this point.
With Ryan at center, Belton's last few games at guard, Banks at left guard, do you see some cohesion continuing to build along the interior?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think absolutely. I think it's, the more time those guys are going out there, getting those reps together, whether it's in game or in practice, I think it's beneficial. And they got a great test in front of them, so we need them to be at their best, no doubt about it.
Yeah, just going to ask about that test with Zach Allen. What makes him so good? And obviously you had a similar guy with Devontae. What does it do to challenge you when you have interior pressure like that?
Well, I think when you combine that with their edges and just the style of play that they bring in terms of just all the different pressures, Zach is a guy that can win quickly inside. I think he's got over 50 some odd pressures on the season, 51 or something like that. So to get that inside-outside combination is a big-time challenge because somebody's getting a one-on-one somewhere.
There's a story out today that teams are bringing in 6 offensive linemen more this season than in the last 8 or 9 years. You started doing it, I thought, as a response to after Kraft went down. Have you noticed this trend?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we see usually in the crossover games every week. That personnel grouping, whether it's 12, whether it's 11, it could be 22, 13T, just that extra tackle. And I think it's kind of a little bit the evolution of the tight end position in regards to a lot of these guys that are coming into this league are coming in as more receiver type, and you got to train them to get them where you want them to go as far as a blocker. And plus it's dependent upon what type of team you're playing in terms of the personnel they have on the edge. I mean, sometimes those are some just not the best of matchups, so you got to combat that somehow, some way, and a lot of times it's with that extra tackle.
What was the situation with Wicks and Golden last week? Were you expecting more than 11 snaps out of the 2 of them, or was that kind of?
Well, yeah, I would say yes. However, I mean, Wicks was battling through all week, so anytime a guy's dinged up, you're really not quite sure what it's going to be. He went out there and it was bothering him. So he let us know, and then it wasn't like a situation where he couldn't go back in. It's just we were going to put him in if we absolutely needed him. And same with MG. Kind of going into that game, it was for more or less pass situations only, and just didn't need him as much as we may have thought going into the game. I think some of that was alleviated by having Bo go in there and taking some reps. So, but certainly guys that, we've seen what they can do. Both those guys do a great job and can impact the game in a very positive way for us.
Go ahead. Oh, if I can follow, can you get them healthy, still practicing, or, in a situation where they're still, I'm sure, putting stress on whatever their injury is?
Yeah, I mean, that's why you're trying to, I'd say it's a moving target every day. It's going to be a little bit different in regards to how they're feeling and where they're at. I do think it was probably beneficial that they didn't have as many reps in the game to come out a little bit healthier, and I think they're feeling a little bit better this week.
Was Bo with the receivers full-time yesterday? It looked like he had the white jersey on.
You're very observant, Rob.
I can tell the difference between green and white. That's
You're not colorblind? All right. Yeah, he was primarily there, but we were still, doing double duty a little bit.
With Golden, obviously he's battling through injuries here for quite a spell now that you guys are veteran receivers back. Is it going to be a challenge to get him back going again, just with those kind of circumstances like that?
Well, I think anytime for young players, when you're away from it for a minute, yeah, I think there's a little bit, it's a little bit of a process, but he's a guy that we certainly feel really good about, and we need to make sure we get him into the game because he can impact the game. We all see what he can do as a receiver, and we got a lot of confidence in him, and I know he hasn't gotten probably as many opportunities as he'd like this year, and some of that is due to the fact that he has been a little bit banged up and been in and out a little bit.
Let's see our early impressions of your new D tackles. Obviously, Riley played for you the other day and quit in practice yesterday for you.
Yeah, I think both those guys, they're different in regards to just their size and build and all that. Riley, I thought, went in there and did a really good job. He's a long guy, tall, big guy. And Bohanna he's a mountain of a man in regards to, he's a tough guy to move. So, got both of those guys kind of integrated, and we'll see how they perform today in terms of their practices, and, ultimately make a decision as we get closer in terms of who's going to get the bulk of the reps.
Is it looking harder to get the 3 guys who are on IR back onto the 53? Is there a chance in the next week or so?
Yeah, I would absolutely say there's a chance. Those are conversations that Goody and I are constantly having. Ultimately, we're going to make the best decision for our football team.
Matt, what's your relationship like with Sean Payton? Obviously, both you guys spent some time coaching in the NFC South.
Yeah, he's a guy that I totally respect. I've gotten to know him the longer I've been in the game. He's done a hell of a job. Just look at his track record. Obviously winning the Super Bowl in New Orleans, but I think it goes even before that. He's one of the best offensive minds in the game of football, and has been for a really long time. So he's a hell of a storyteller too. So he is entertaining to be around. So I got a chance to talk to him a little bit last year when we went out and practiced versus them, and spent some time with them at some of these, whether it's the owners' meetings or whatnot. And a guy that I just have a ton of respect for.
How do you feel like Nazir Stackhouse progressing already playing the last game? How is his progression going?
I think he's done a good job. I think it's always it can be a little bit of a roller coaster for young players, and we just got to continue to work with him, get him more reps, just keep refining that technique. But certainly a young player that we feel really good about moving forward.
Did Peyton tell you he interviewed in 06 here?
He did not. I'll have to ask him about that one, Spoon.